I discovered my mother-in-law on a site. I seduced her and went through with it. I don't know where to start. First, I'll tell you a bit about myself. By the time I turned 24, I had already decided on my preferences and tastes. One of the most important aspects was my attraction to older, more mature women. In fact, I even chose a wife who was 8 years older than me. She was impressive and confident, and I couldn't resist her every time I saw her on the street. Let me tell you, our intimate moments were indescribable. She had experience and knew exactly what she wanted in a man. I didn't miss the opportunity, and 6 months later, we got married. But even before the wedding, I had the chance to meet her mother, who eventually became my mother-in-law. After meeting her, I realized I had made the right decision, and that her family fulfilled all my desires and fantasies. Susanna, my mother-in-law, also preferred younger men and enjoyed their attention, so it didn't surprise me that my wife, in addition to her beauty, shared similar preferences. While Anna, my wife, showered me with affection and attention from the start, it took Susanna some time to accept me. She was happy that her daughter had married a responsible and kind man, and we only saw each other on special occasions, about 4 or 5 times a year. During these gatherings, I couldn't help but admire my mother-in-law. She possessed a beauty that seemed straight out of a book about ancient Greece. She resembled a Greek goddess with her slender, statuesque figure and beautiful wavy hair. I could go on about her appearance and grace, but that's not the point of my story. At parties, I would look at her brazenly, and when it became too obvious, I would resort to more discreet glances. I tried to win over my mother-in-law, but she barely acknowledged me. She saw me as her daughter's husband. I won't say I was particularly attracted to her, but in the darkness of the night, during intimate moments with my wife, I often imagined my mother-in-law in her place. This vivid fantasy gave me joy, and after those moments, I would fall asleep with an incredible sense of satisfaction, as if I had achieved another long-awaited goal in life. Living nearby, I adjusted my work schedule a bit so I could see her more often, even if it was from a distance. Now, I could easily walk to her entrance before she got home and watch her return. Unfortunately, she was often accompanied or driven home in luxurious foreign cars by attractive men who seemed younger than 27. I felt envious when I saw them enter the house, hiding deep in the entrance. I couldn't help but imagine what they were doing, having a cup of coffee. I had to quickly return home and channel my masculine energy towards my wife, who enjoyed the attention and intimacy. One day, I overheard my wife and her mother discussing privacy settings on a dating site where she could find many suitors. I had a plan in my mind to contact my mother-in-law and socialize with her without revealing my true identity. Yes, at that moment, I was happy to have even an additional correspondence with her. But it took me a whole week to find her social media page. Fortunately, luck was on my side. Just when I was contemplating the idea of hiring a hacker to access my mother-in-law's social media, it turned out that my wife had left her laptop open. While browsing through her friends, I came across someone named Aunt Lucy. To my surprise, it turned out to be my mother-in-law. She hadn't even changed her name. In real life, I had the gift of gab and could engage in conversation with almost anyone. However, online, it was easy for me to get bored or captivate any interlocutor. A plan quickly formed in my mind, and without hesitation, I created a new profile and immediately set to work. Using my skills and extensive knowledge of my mother-in-law's preferences, hobbies, and various details, I easily established a connection with her. For instance, I sent her virtual flowers, knowing her affection for peonies. I even bought a picture of peonies for a small amount of money and sent it to her to make her feel comfortable. To add an element of mystery, I didn't create a completely fictitious identity in my profile. Instead, I decided to leave some aspects ambiguous, but still used my real name, age, and other parameters. I also included real details, but posted a rather suggestive photo without showing my face. In the picture, I am lying on a wicker balcony during a vacation in the South, holding a glass of whiskey. It was my subtle way of hinting that I was very attractive and enjoyed adult beverages. Every day, our conversations became more interesting. At first, we spent time getting to know each other through messages, and then we moved on to exchanging increasingly intriguing photos. Our conversations took on a more romantic tone. I was certain she was interested in a mature woman and assumed she would be mine after our first meeting. However, the idea of scaring her by revealing my face and all my secrets was daunting. During one of our photo exchanges, she sent me some pictures of herself looking stunning in an evening gown, which captivated me even more with her appearance. To ease the unusual tension, I hurried to my wife and we shared a night of passion in our bedroom, all while planning to meet my mother-in-law 3 days later. I decided to spoil her with gifts, leaving sweet notes in her mailbox as well as a delicious and large chocolate bar that she loved. The day before our meeting, I ordered a large bouquet of her favorite flowers to be delivered to her workplace. I made sure to sign everything with my name so she would know exactly who her secret admirer was. "You didn't exaggerate when you talked about your influence and information about me," she wrote on the site, with admiration. Although at first, I thought she might be worried about receiving gifts from a stranger, my obsession made me seem somewhat obsessed. Nevertheless, she agreed to meet with me. However, I knew that if we met at a cafe or another public place, she would probably get scared and run away when she saw me. That was not an option I felt comfortable with. I literally daydreamed about my own mother-in-law. I managed to ask her to meet directly at her house and insisted she meet me at the door dressed exactly as she had been in the photos she sent that had won me over. To my delight, Susanna gave her consent. As I made my way to her house, I couldn't help but think about how risky and beautiful the situation was. After buying champagne and sweets at a nearby store, I entered her entrance with my spare key in hand. Having a spare set of keys to her apartment, I easily reached her floor, and gathering my courage, I rang the doorbell. Although I had imagined various scenarios for this conversation, Susanna exceeded my expectations from the start. True to her word, she opened the door dressed in an impressive evening gown. I expected to see horror on her face upon seeing me, but to my surprise, she recognized me immediately. "Hello, James. Did you really think I wouldn't recognize you?" she said. "My daughter showed me the photos from your vacation, especially the one of you lying on the balcony with a glass in your hand." She smiled as if she was teasing me. "I'm sorry," Susanna whispered. "It's okay, James. You made a lot of promises about this meeting, so don't make me wait. Keep your word," she said, pointing towards the bedroom where the bed was already made. Once we were in the bedroom, my mother-in-law closed the door behind us and turned to me with a mischievous smile. She began to seduce me, saying things that made my cheeks blush with embarrassment. I tried to say something, but her advances were relentless. Before I knew it, we were entangled in a passionate embrace. My mind was clouded with confusion and desire as she led me to the bed, and I gave in to our forbidden desires. When I realized that this wasn't a dream, I had my mother-in-law kneeling in front of me, with my hands on her waist. We were doing it at a fast pace. It was the realization of my dream. Everything went well. We spent the whole night together in the bedroom like a goddess of joy for a man. Our encounters continued for months. Sometimes I think it's wrong, but I enjoy it so much that I don't see the consequences. What would you do in my place? These were today's stories. I sincerely ask you to subscribe and like the video. That way, I know you enjoyed it and I can keep uploading more stories. It would help me a lot if you watch the next video. We're sure you're going to enjoy it. See you tomorrow on Reddit Daily.